Hello everyone! In this video, we will be talking about the telecommunication industry. But first of all, what is telecommunication? Telecommunication is defined as a transmission of information over significant distances by an electronic means, and it refers to all types of voice, data, and video transmission. So with that definition, we can already have an idea on what telecommunication industry is all about. So let's begin. The telecommunication industry is made up of businesses that makes communication possible on a global scale, whether it's through the phone or the internet, through airwaves or cables, through wires or wirelessly. The telecommunication industry can actually be divided into two sectors. We have the equipment sector and the services sector. The equipment sector comprises companies that manufacture products that are used by both end users and an input to other telecommunication companies. These equipments are used by customers to access the telecommunication services. So some example of telecommunication equipments are switches, telecom towers, fiber optic cables, routers, voice over internet protocol, and smartphones.
The following are the world's top telecommunication equipment companies. First, we have Cisco Systems. Second, Verizon Communications, followed by Qualcomm, AT&T, T-Mobile US, China Mobile, America Mobile, China Telecom Corporation, Bell Canada Enterprises, and Vodafone Group. Some telecommunication equipment companies operating in the Philippines are Ecorenew Philippines Incorporated, Panasonic, Ionix Incorporated, EasyPhone, LG, Starcom, Maclean Electronics Incorporated, and GoFodon.
On the other hand, the service sector consists of players in the telecom industry that provides various services to customers, like telecom service providers, broadband service providers, and intermediaries. The service sector can be divided in the following categories. We have wired services, wireless services, internet services, resellers, cable and program distribution, and other broadband services.
Globally, American Telephone and Telegraph Company, Verizon Communications, Nippon Telegraph and Telephone Corporation, Deutsche Telekom, and T-Mobile US Incorporated are the top telecom service providers as of 2021.
But here in the Philippines, the telecommunication service sector has long been dominated by a duopoly between PLDT and Globe, which both provide fixed-line networks, fixed broadband, and mobile networks. However, in the year 2018, the entrance of Dito Telecom Unity challenged the duopoly. Dito was introduced as the third major telecommunication service provider in our country after winning a government-sanctioned bidding. It is partly owned by Chinese state-owned China Telecom, which is actually one of the world's top telecommunication companies. And in March 2021, Dito already started its commercial operation. In our country, a telecom company cannot start their operation without applying a franchise from the Philippine government. This franchise covers a 25-year period and is renewable. This franchise can only be granted by the Philippine Congress to domestic corporations. However, the participation of foreign investors is allowed but only up to 40%. And all the executive and managing officers of a telecom companies must be a Filipino citizen. The telecom companies in the Philippines are being regulated by the National Telecommunications Commission or NTC, which is under the administrative supervision of DICT or the Department of Information and Communications Technology. For us to have a better understanding on how telecommunication industry works, let's take a look at Converge ICT and Sun Cellular, which are also players in the Philippine telecom industry.
So the first company is Sun Cellular. Digital Mobile Philippines Incorporated, commercially known as Sun Cellular, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Digitel and is one of the Philippines' leading mobile telecommunication companies. It was established by Digitel in September 2001 to provide wireless public and private telecommunication services. Sun Cellular offers a wide range of service innovations from voice, messaging, and international roaming services to wireless broadband and value-added services for consumers and businesses alike. In October 2011, PLDT acquired Digital from JG Summit Holdings, vowing to continue providing Digital's customers best value in terms of price, quality, and range of products and services. PLDT's acquisition of Digital ensured that Digital remains in good hands as Digital stands to benefit from PLDT's extensive infrastructure and diverse service offerings. The telecom industry was deregulated in 1995 when President Fidel Ramos signed Republic Act 7925. This law opened the sector to more private players and improved the provision of telecom services at better and fair rates, leading to the creation of many telecommunication service providers for mobile, fixed line, internet, and other services. The prominent companies providing telecommunication services and the main competitors of Sun Cellular when it was not yet acquired by PLDT are Philippine Long Distance Telephone or PLDT and Globe Telecom. The two aforementioned companies are the leading players in the industry. Challenging the duopoly was Dito Telecommunity, which was introduced as a third major telecommunication provider in the country after winning a government-sanctioned bidding in 2018. For the regulatory environment, as a public utility, the company is subject to governmental regulations with respect to their operations, services, rates, and ownership. According to their annual report, the company is in compliance with all applicable governmental regulations and that their relations with government regulators are satisfactory. What are other external factors currently affecting the entity's business? First is the COVID-19 pandemic. As more and more people in the Philippines choose to work from home, Sun Cellular have been experiencing a significant increase in the usage of their internet services. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak in the Philippines, they have been closely monitoring their network traffic for usage spikes and possible congestion. According to their annual report, they have sufficient capacity to serve the increased needs of their subscribers. They have added international and domestic internet capacity, upgraded their local content delivery network, and reassigned their 2G frequencies to LTE. They also have taken steps to enhance security for premises in which their critical network and IT systems are kept. They have also moved essential spare parts and supplies from their remote warehouses to Metro Manila to help them undertake maintenance and repairs more efficiently. And the second is the entry of a third major mobile telecommunications player and the increased competition from other telecommunications service providers may reduce the company's market share and decrease their profit margin. As per the financial statements of Sun Cellular, they have been prepared in accordance with the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards or PFRS as issued by the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards Council or FRSC. Next is the nature of entity. So the company has three business activities and they are categorized into the following. First is wireless. This includes mobile, home broadband, and MVNO and other services. Second is fixed line. This includes data, voice services including LEC, international and domestic services, and miscellaneous services. Additionally, on their fixed line, they also provide their service to retail, corporate, and SME clients. And for others, this consisted primarily of investments in digital platforms and other technologies made through their investment companies. For the suppliers of the company, substantially, all the telecommunications equipment obtained in connection with their development programs have been purchased outside the Philippines, and they expect that a large portion of the equipment requirements of their future development programs will also be purchased from foreign sources. The major suppliers for the company are Huawei Technologies and Ericsson Telecommunications. For mobile devices, the company's principal suppliers are Apple South Asia and Samsung Electronics. For the ownership of the company, on October 21, 2020, Smart and DMPI entered into a rebranding agreement wherein Sun prepaid subscribers were rebranded as Smart prepaid subscribers. The brand consolidation under Smart aims to capitalize on Smart's robust mobile data network to provide superior mobile data experience to all Sun subscribers and achieve cost efficiency in brand management. Next are the investments and innovations that the entity is making and plans to make. So the company continues to make investments in cybersecurity measures, aside from focusing its efforts and resources in protecting their most crucial digital information and cyber assets. The company's cybersecurity investments were also directed to acquire technology, boost capability, and expand partnerships to increase security of Philippine cyberspace, combat online child abuse and sexual exploitation, and other worldwide endeavors. Aside from this, the company is also making plans with popular smartphone manufacturers in getting more affordable LTE and 5G capable handsets out in the market. And lastly is the structure of the company and how it is financed. So the financing activities of the company are as follows. First are from bank loans, second are from investments, third are from capital contributions from shareholders, and fourth is cash flow from the business.
So the next one is the entity selection and application of accounting policies, including the reasons for the changes thereto. For Sun Cellular, they adopted the PFRS in preparing their financial statements. PFRS 15, which is also known as the revenue from contracts with customers, and PFRS 9, which is the financial instruments. As previously, PFRSs allowed significant room for judgment in devising and applying revenue policies. By the adaptation of PFRS 15, the timing of revenue and profit recognition significantly affected the telecommunication industry, and Sun Cellular is not an exception for that. And since the focus of the standard is revenue, and revenue is considered an important measure of an entity's performance because it is used by both investors and others to make decisions about investments, revenue is also considered as one of the most decisive items of financial reporting. The revenue recognition standard represents a milestone in efforts to improve and converge one of the most important areas of financial reporting. On the other hand, PFRS 9, which replaced past 39 financial instruments, recognition and measurements, and all previous versions of PFRS 9, this standard introduces new requirements for classifications and measurement, impairment, and hedge accounting. In addition, in the case of Sun Cellular, strict compliance with the standards and good internal control framework are the key practices in preparing the company's financial statements. In connection with the accounting policies, it is said that changes in the economic transaction of business and changes in government policies for the telecommunication companies are just some of the possible reasons on why accounting policies change for the said industry.
So now we will go on the business risks that the Sun Cellular encountered in its operation. These are the major business risks that the Sun Cellular encountered. First, forex rate risk. Second, fast aging technology. Third, regulatory and compliance risk. And fourth, cyber risk. These risks may affect the financial statements, but according to Ms. Jamila, forex risk and cyber risk may increase the risk of material misstatement on the financial statement of the entity. There was a failure to measure the transactions or adjust the foreign exchange rate during the reporting period. It might affect the financial statement. Given the materiality of transactions, the difference in forex rate will have material impact on the financial statement. Meanwhile, if there is a failure to properly account for contingencies, it will affect the material misstatement. What is the risk management and control process of the Sun Cellular Company? During this time of the pandemic, the risk management that was done by the Sun Cellular was to establish an enterprise-wide risk management team that uses three-level enterprise risk and control process that was done annually, quarterly, and granular risk assessment. Enterprise-wide risk management pertains to the overall management of risk that an organization takes and holds to achieve its strategic aims. It is the sum of the various risks that the organization takes in the various categories and focuses on optimizing the balance and interaction of the different types of risk. There are also common issues or problems that have been encountered while auditing the entity. First, the non-cooperation from the employees, such as delay in giving documents and reports and not giving enough information. Second, combining operational and audit expertise. Third, fraudulent activities. How does Sun Company manage the common issues or problems that have been encountered while auditing the entity? First was conducting an opening meeting with the management and key employees and explaining the scope and importance of the audit. Second, listening to the auditees and agreeing with the terms of the audit. Third, regular training and attending continuous professional development activities. Fourth, constantly reading industry-related news, articles, laws, and regulations. And fifth, discussing with the immediate superior and escalating the fraud team. So now we go on how the measurement and review of the entity's financial performance. There are factors that might affect the decline of growth of the company's profitability. One of the factors, according to Ma'am Jamila, that might affect the decline of growth of the company's profitability was the revenue leakage. What is revenue leakage? Revenue leakage is an unnoticed or unintended loss of revenue from your company. Sadly, as today's fast-aging technology and the abundance of customer offerings increases, so does the possibility of this becoming a problem for the telecommunication business like Sun Cellular Company. Revenue leakage is most commonly the result of not billing the customer for the products and services that were provided. Another factor is, of course, fraud. If the business was involved in fraudulent activity, it can make the customers and clients lose trust in the integrity of the business system. If it happens, there will be a loss of reputation and brand image, which affects the profitability of the company. So there are two main sources of the Sun Company's currency. One is the bank loan, wherein there is an amount of money that is borrowed often from the bank and has to be paid back, usually together with an extra amount of money that you have to pay as a charge for borrowing. Second was the investment. Investment refers to an asset or item acquired with the goal of generating income or appreciation. What is appreciation? Appreciation refers to an increase in the value of the asset over time. But when an individual purchases a good as an investment, the intent is not to consume the goods, but rather to use it in the future to create more wealth. So, there are also policy with regards to the credit sales of the Sun Company. The Sun Cellular Company adopted the following credit sales policies. One was the regular assessment and classification of the credit sales initially. Second, exposure management, which pertains to monitoring the usage and payment. Third is recovery. Alongside with the traditional credit sales policy, Sun Cellular also tried to adopt the reward-based credit management, which involved restructuring, which pertains to changing the services offered or altering the credit limit or altering the payment frequency.
everyone. We are 30 and one of the branch office of Converge ICT Solutions, and we are here to interview with two of the employees of the company to talk about the operational system of the company. First, we have here a business center officer, Sir Brian Ramay. Sir, with the emergence of the COVID pandemic, how does it affect your company in general?
Actually, sa effect ng pandemic sa business, syempre, mas mahirap tumarget dahil mas less yung profits namin ngayon. Pero may mga strategy na ginagawa para ma-target pa rin namin yung target namin, yung sales target namin.
Yung sabi niyo po sir na strategies, can you give us some of your strategies for example?
Pagtuwan sa conference, pag sa mga kakilala namin, kakilala ng kakilala, cross-site sa mga nagbabagyan. Yung may mga other concerns pang may mga kakilala kasi na gusto apply ng plan sa amin. Cross-site, technical, yun yung isa sa mga strategy.
Sir, I just want to clarify ko yung nakita mo sa website ko ninyo na in 2020 po nag-double, in 2021 po nag-double yung 6 performance nyo as compared ng 2020 na start of pandemic.
Kaya siya nag-double kasi since kailangan ng tao ng internet connection sa bahay kasi mas marami nag-work from home tsaka nag-content. Kaya nag-double siguro yung sales.
In terms of your partnership with vendors or sellers, for example, yung mga internet model nito, do you have good relationship with them?
Yes, okay naman pala yung problems.
Tapos, sino po yung mga suppliers niyo when it comes to sa mga equipment users or
Pag ganun kasi I'm not sure baka hindi kami allowed mag-disclose ng mga partners regarding po sa suppliers.
okay. Yung sa changes in the field or in technology that the business can use for its advantage? Ano po yung changes?
Sorry.
Are there any changes in the field or in technology that the business can use for its advantage sa company?
Actually, as of now, wala pa naman major changes since parang nag-start pa lang din talaga si Converge compare sa other internet service provider, telecommunications company. So, kung sa mga pagbabang changes, wala pa masyado.
Pero you have innovations, sir, di ba? You have innovations po.
Meron naman halimbawa sa process, most likely sa payment, lessen na yung cash payments dahil ng pandemic para less interaction. Kasi syempre maraming humahawak ng pera. Pero sa payments, parang encourage na namin yung mga subscriber na machine lang para less contact sa mga employee at sa mga subscriber.
Yung sa, di ba you have mobile applications po na set for the customers?
Doon naman, actually meron din yun, pero nakasimula lang din. Pero in-encourage din sila yung mga hindi makapunta personally dito for their concerns sa mga applications. Pwede rin naman through online, kaya may ginawang website for concerns and applications. Dahil pa rin sa pandemic lang siguro.
When it comes to sa threats ng the success of your business, are there changes na external factors?
Ano po?
Yung sa threats po ng success of the business. Threats. Yung may ano po ba, external factors na nag-contribute or uma-affect sa operations nito?
External. When it comes to trends,
Yeah, pwede.
actually, as of now, external, ano naman talaga siya, part din yung mga external. Pero hindi siya masyado nakaka-affect ng trend ng company. External. Para lang sa akin.
Tapos, services nyo, ano po yung, do you think is the most profitable or most common na ina-avail po ng customers?
Since ano lang naman kami, hindi kami para telecommunications talaga company nag-offer ng postpaid plan sa call center. Pure internet as of now kasi parang pure dito sa Baguio, pure internet service provider po sa church. Pero most likely, ang kinukuha talaga ng mga customer is for residential plans. Kasi nga po, napansin din namin nung nagpatay, parang necessity na talaga ang pagkakaroon ng internet connection sa household or sa business. So, talagang ina-avail ng mga tao sa amin, internet connection or broadband plan.
Sir, can you explain to us the plans, yung mga product plans po niyo for residential and enterprise?
Residential, meron kami plan 1.5, lowest plan namin. Meron din kami plan 2.5, which is para sa mas maraming gagamit. Ano ba? Mas maraming gagamit sa isang residential area. Kasi yung offer yung hot plan. Meron din kami business plan. Business plan is mas mabilis ang speed niya compared to residential plan since gagamitin siya for work na trabaho. Mas mahal lang siya ng konti pero ang pagkakaiba lang naman ng residential and business plan is speed, yung cost na binabayaran monthly, and yung requirements.
Yun lang naman.
Thank you, sir.
Our second employee, business center officer of the Converge ICT Solutions that we're going to interview or ask questions is Sir Jeffrey Ren. Sir, in your opinion po, what makes your company stand out from its competitors?
Usually kasi yung offer namin is pure end-to-end fiber. Hindi katulad ng ibang mga competitors na air fiber siya. So usually, kapag meron tayong mga downtime, usually nawawalan sila ng connection. Kumbaga lahat na. Pero mga downtime connections. So, ibig sabihin niya, talagang ramdam nila yung end-to-end fiber connection.
Sir, yung sa products and services niyo, what do you think customers mostly patronize?
Usually naman yung yun nga sabi ko kanina, pure end-to-end fiber siya. Hindi natin siya, kumbaga, yung pinapatronize siya. Because kailangan na usually pandemic, di ba? Kailangan talaga ng mga tao o ng mga customers yung, kumbaga, magiging kailangan nila kung sa school and then sa work, kumbaga sila na yung lumalapit sa atin. Sila na yung lumalapit sa amin para makapagpakamit ng internet connection na may bibigyan namin yung good service sa kanila.
Are there any social programs or activities that the company offers to give back to the company?
Actually, marami. Dito kasi sa Baguio or Trinidad or Benguet area is, kumbaga, hindi naman natin pinagsandaramdam yung mga Baguio. Katulad dun sa ibang lugar, yun yung mga naibibigay natin, katulad ng mga nasasakta ng Baguio. And then also there is another offer is corporate social responsibility, which is marami tayong hiring. Kung gusto nyo, pwede tayong pumunta dito sa business center office, magpasa na ng resume. Marami tayong mga offer na job na sa kanila, sa mga ibang mga nangangailangan ng work.
Yung mga, about po yung mga, for example, tree planting, yung mga tree planting, mga outreach program po na yun.
Yun, isa din sa mga ino-offer ni is yung balik school program, pero hindi lang muna dito sa Benguet, which is sa ibang mga lugar lang din siya.
What are the common problems or challenges that you met when it comes to business operations po?
Okay. Usually naman kasi is dito is iba, no connection. Pero di ba sinasabi ko na dito sa Philippines, there is no perfect na internet service provider. Usually talaga nagkakaroon ng mga problems. Pero we handle that na lang na in terms of customer service, being a customer service representative, kailangan mo na lang maging, kumbaga kung ikaw yung nasa position nila na walang internet connection, always stay calm. Tapos, kumbaga, parang ikaw yung dun sa position nila kapag wala kang internet connection, kailangan mo, i-assist mo na lang siya ng mas maganda. At saka, be professional din.
Sir, ano po yung pinaka-common complaints po na nare-receive from customers?
Ayun, no internet connection. Tapos pangalawa, which is yung being concerns. Ayan.
Sir, as a BPO or BCO, Business Center Officer, ano po yung role niyo sa
Ayan.
operations of the company?
Okay. Usually, ang business center officer is, ang role po niya is one is the customer service representative. And then, when it comes to operations, cashiers. And then, another is, kami din yan. And then, ayun, usually, nandun na lahat yung sa customer service representative.
Now, let's talk about another telecom company here in the Philippines, which is the Converge ICT Solutions. Converge ICT Solutions Incorporated is a telecom company founded by Dennis Anthony Uy. The major shareholder of the company was the Comclark Network and Technology Corporation, while other shares are public-owned and owned by other minor shareholders. Converge ICT Solution is the market leader in the Philippine high-speed fixed broadband market, as they are the fastest growing high-speed fixed broadband operator in our country. The company outperformed other telecom companies on top criteria that customers consider in choosing operators and products. These include internet speed, connection reliability, perception of affordability, and customer service. In terms of its compliance matters, Converge has a number of registered trademarks with the Philippine Intellectual Property Office. The company has all the material permits and licenses necessary for its business, which are valid and subsisting. They were granted a legislative franchise under Republic Act No. 9707 to construct, install, establish, and operate and maintain telecommunication system throughout the Philippines. Its franchise is for the term of 25 years from the date of effectivity of RA No. 9707 and is expected to last until 2034. Converge has been operating on the basis of a valid provisional authority issued by the NTC. Furthermore, the company was able to comply with the environmental laws with the DANR before proceeding from its operations. The company's nationwide submarine cable network that will connect the main islands of the Philippine archipelago requires a relevant environmental compliance certificate to be obtained. Converge is in compliance with this requirement as it expands to Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao regions. Moving on to the nature of the entity, Converge operates two services. First is the residential services, which primarily offers high-speed fixed broadband internet services to residential customers. Second is the enterprise services, which offers high-speed fixed broadband internet services, private data network solutions, cloud and colocation services, and other connectivity solutions to their enterprise customers of varying sizes, industries, and types. In terms of its suppliers, the company purchases substantially all of their network equipment outside of the Philippines. For core network equipment and the expansion of optical transmission backbone, including for the planned subsea cables, Huawei Technologies, ZTE, Nokia, and Ciena are their principal suppliers. Fiber procurement is undertaken through a bidding process, and their principal suppliers are fiber manufacturers such as YOFC International Philippines Corporation, Hengtong Optic Electric International Company Ltd, and ZTT International Ltd. As for the company's investments, Converge invested in a submarine cable system for which they entered into a supply contract for the purchase of submarine cables and accessories and other equipment, as well as a service contract for the design, manufacture, installation, integration, testing, and commissioning of the submarine cable system, and provision of long-term technical support and maintenance thereof with Huawei Marine Networks Company Ltd. The company's principal sources of funding of their capital requirements since 2016 includes the following. First is the capital contributions from their shareholders, including a $225 million equity investment by Warburg Pincus. Second is the cash flows generated from operations, and lastly are the bank financings.
Next, let's talk about an accounting policy of Converge, specifically an example of a change in accounting standard that it has adopted. So, effective on January 1, 2019, PFRS 16 replaced the guidance of PAS 17 that relates to the accounting by lessees and the recognition of almost all leases in the balance sheet. PFRS 16 removed the current distinction between operating and financing leases and requires the recognition of an asset, the right of use asset, and a lease liability to pay rentals for virtually all lease contracts. Therefore, the company has adopted PFRS 16 retrospectively from January 1, 2019, but has not restated their financial statements for previous periods, as permitted under the specific transition provisions in the standard. In terms of the changes in and disagreements with accountants on accounting and financial disclosure, there were no reports that Converge has disagreements with its independent auditors on any matter of accounting principles or practices, financial statement disclosure, or auditing scope or procedure. Moving on to the entity's objectives and strategies and those related business risks that may result in risks of material misstatements. So, some of the company's objectives are as follows. So, one is to offer higher quality connectivity and generate higher average revenue per unit. So, in order to achieve this, Converge focuses on fiber to the home expansion. Another objective is to increase brand awareness, acquire new customers, and improve customer loyalty and retention. To achieve this, the company implements word-of-mouth advocacy, on-the-ground and online marketing activities, and targeted advertising campaigns. Another objective is to embed risk awareness within the company culture and effectively communicate risk to the board and management. In relation to this, its strategies include enterprise risk management program, assignment of a risk, chief risk officer, and having the analysis, evaluation, treatment, and reporting strategy. Along with these companies' pursuit to achieve these objectives and perform its strategies, there are business risks that it faces in its operations, which may result in the risks of material misstatements. So some of the major ones are those that are common also to other industries, such as competition risk, customer retention risk, innovation and technological advancement risk, cybersecurity risk, environmental risk, regulatory risk, and others. In addition, the company also recognized some risks that are specifically affecting its operations here in the Philippines. So, one, political instability in the Philippines may have a negative effect on the Philippine economy and business environment. Two, public health crisis or outbreaks of diseases could have an adverse effect on economic activity in the country. 3. Acts of terrorism could destabilize the country. 4. Territorial disputes with China and several Southeast Asian countries may disrupt the Philippine economy and business environment. 5. Corporate governance, disclosure, and financial reporting standards in the Philippines may differ from those in other countries. So, these risks could have a material adverse impact on their business, its asset, its financial condition, results of operations, and prospects.
Let's proceed to the measurement and review of entity's financial performance. Revenues from both the company's residential business and enterprise business are primarily generated from fixed-term contracts that they enter into with their customers to sell their high-speed fixed broadband, internet services, and other connectivity solutions. In addition, the company generates revenue from the sale of additional connectivity solutions such as its Speed Boost add-on for residential subscribers and bandwidth on-demand add-on for enterprise customers. According to Emmy Abadilla, a news writer of Manila Bulletin, Converge said Its net income doubled last 2020 after residential subscriber numbers soared. In 2021, Converge profit jumped from 3.39 billion to 7.16 billion. Significantly, revenues from residential business increased 83% to 23.13 billion from 12.628 billion due to higher subscriber base and improving average monthly revenue per user. On the other hand, enterprise revenues increased 11% to 3.35 billion last year, driven mostly by strong growth in the small and medium enterprise and large enterprise segments. The company did not have any other off-balance sheet arrangement or obligation that were likely to have a current or future effect on their financial condition, revenues or expenses, results of operations, liquidity, capital expenditures or capital resources that are material to investors. Converge also continued to lead the industry in the efficient use of its resources for investment, with its return on invested capital further improving to 21.7% in 2021. As stated by Balinbin from Business World News on March 17, 2022, the company said that Converge is on track to reach its adjusted goal of approximately 55% nationwide household coverage by 2023. They expect that strong demand for reliable high-speed broadband will result in continuous growth of their residential subscriber base to approximately 2.4 million by the end of 2022. At the same time, the company expects that demand from enterprise customers, including small-medium enterprise, will accelerate this year 2022, with the lowering of mobility restriction to Alert Level 1. Further, revenue from enterprise business is expected to grow by 20% year-on-year, resulting in a consolidated revenue growth of 50% for 2022.
And to end this video, since the telecommunications industry is constantly changing and everyone has its own unique infrastructure, between stiff competition and shifting regulations, staying ahead of the game can be a little bit intimidating. There is a newly introduced standard that requires a lot of business estimates and judgments, leading to more adjustments in the current and subsequent period, and unified internal controls and methodologies in place to ensure consistency. Sun Cellular, which changed the mobile landscape 2 decades ago with unlimited data and calls, was folded into parent Smart Communications, giving subscribers access to a myriad of data buckets. It's this bottomless thirst for internet connectivity during the pandemic that is driving telecoms to recalibrate and re-strategize. As PLDT Smart and rival Globe Telecom prepare to stare down challenges from China Telecom-backed Dito Company and Converge, they must also address business risks. That's it for the telecommunications industry. I hope you guys learned some things on how this industry works. Thank you for listening. Bye!